A bombshell audit has come out revealing that the Walt Disney Company's legendary Reedy Creek Improvement District wasn't quite what Disney promised the state of Florida it was going to be. In fact, it might not have ever been what was promised. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. This is Jonas J. Campbell. I'm an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and today we're talking about the Reedy Creek Improvement District, the special taxing district that was set up by an act of the Florida legislature in 1967. The act was supposed to enable the construction of an experimental prototype city of tomorrow, but instead we got a theme park. While that theme park may be spectacular, what's even more spectacular are the findings of this audit that reveal that Disney may have known from the very beginning that they were pulling one over on the state of Florida. Let's get into it.
This has been a crazy last night reading the 80 pages of this bombshell audit, and then today streaming about it, hopping on about it, making my own videos about it. It's been absolutely nuts. This is 80 pages of just gold. There's some things where I say you can skim them. This one you read. If you've been covering Disney, you read this. That anybody who doesn't read this in their entirety is missing out on so much ammunition against the Walt Disney Corporation, they will make their heads spin. There are crimes in here, and I'll say potential, alleged, right? Because they've got to take them to trial to prove the prima facie case, because it is so clear that this thing is just a slam dunk once they bring it to trial. But there are over a dozen crimes, and I'm going to have a video detailing them quickly for you guys coming out later. But there are over a dozen clear crimes that come out of this audit, in addition to numerous accounting bad behaviors or things that are maybe unethical, unprofessional. There's governance practices that are not looking good. I mean, you're even ending up where you have a position where Bob Iger may be getting deposed for criminal charges for RICO. You've got all of these things are possible based on the information we have in this audit. So I can't understate how much of a huge bombshell this was to wake up to.
I guess it is. I guess
is that setting the bar? Is that setting the bar too low? Should I set a little higher? Like, should I set a little higher than that?
A lot of confirmation of things we already knew, but at the same time, there are the things that we kind of knew, but to hear it all presented in a legal and financial audit is amazing and wonderful. And to hear all this stuff that was the legendary talk about, oh, you know, they've got these mobile homes here. Oh, this is how they control these people. To hear you going through it. And by the way, I've listened to every minute of that stream now. I got up early to do it. I know that you tagged out after 3 hours, and there was still more to cover. So I'm looking
I mean, there was still, I will say I covered the substance of it in the main thrust in terms of the negative stuff. I did skim past the history, and I did skim past the final expert report. I got through the summary of the extra reports, but not like the bulk of the extra report.
Right.
So those are things that I might cover in a future stream, or might just make in a separate video, kind of peeling those off into one-off videos. I haven't decided which way to split that. We got plenty of time to do it, but this is, it's just, there's so much in here from a financial sense, from a corporate government governance sense, and from a legal sense. This is the nexus, this is the perfect nexus for all the talking heads on the internet to come together and say, wow, Disney screwed up. I mean, just the line saying here, by RCID coming into existence, the creation of RCID, which was run by Disney, was the most egregious exhibition of corporate cronyism in modern American history. This is an audit. I don't know if any of you guys have read an audit. Audits are supposed to be boring. They are not supposed to read like a novel. This is insane. I've helped edit and read hundreds of government audits. I've never read something like this. And the only thing that can make a professional do this is by seeing something that is absolutely nuts, that is so beyond the pale that they would write something like this in an audit.
I can't.
Stunning.
Having been a person, you know, and when you're in Fortune 500 companies, people are audited all the time. So when I say that I've been on the receiving end and also on the giving end of audits, everything is stated so matter-of-factly in those, because one, you don't want to be found liable if there ends up being a reason for something occurring. In this case, I think they know all of the reasons that things happened. and they're assigning so much. This introduction is beautiful. This May 1967. We're not going to read the entire thing because this is 80 pages, and we all have lives. The summer of love was kicking off in San Francisco. The Beatles dropped their 8th studio album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's just all of this very flowery stuff. And by the way, Claude R. Kirk, 36th governor of the state of Florida. I believe we're on 46 or maybe 47 now with Ron DeSantis. But the most egregious exhibition of corporate cronyism in modern American history. Of course, they have confirmation of the construction of a nuclear power plant being spelled out.
Well, and to cover a little bit of this history here, why Disney was granted this these amazing powers via the RCID and granted this sweetheart deal by the Central Florida, was because Disney was pitting. We talked about pitting cities against each other with Universal, but they were pitting Central Florida against Mineral King, and seeing which deal would be the most lucrative, right? Would grant them the what do you want to say, the biggest earning potential based on what they can get from these cities right here. And it's quite stunning to kind of see this detailed from Florida's end here in such colorful language, I will say.
Oh yeah, and I'll add, this report does address the fact that this massive let's say Disney would like to claim that they won't be profitable if they don't have RCID. SIFTOD, I think they're probably doing just fine under SIFTOD. All these financial reports that they're doing now, which, by the way, there's a good possibility they're going to have to restate some of those financial reports in order to acknowledge what has been alleged against them.
You think, Jonas? You think they're going to have to file something with the SEC? You think they're going to have to? We just got accused of IRS tax fraud, SEC violations, public securities offering violations, and a number of federal and state crimes. I think that's kind of got to go to the SEC. I think shareholders should know that they're reporting them to the IRS. Yes, in this audit, it says they are reporting Disney to the IRS. I think that has to be reported. I'm pretty sure.
Official misconduct, misappropriation of public funds. Yeah, I would say so. I'd say you need to be a little bit more transparent about that. Go ahead, Jonas.
I mean, they go from not just the appearance of impropriety to saying akin to a bribe. Wow. And they're talking about bribes being paid to anyone who has ever worked for RCID in the last 55 years. So there's a lot of mud to get on everybody in this particular instance. Now, I will say the auditors are very kind, saying that it appears that they did not have the individual employees of RCID were not informed that Disney was paying bribes to RCID. So anyone, I think you said it best, Andrew, that the janitor over there for RCID is probably not going to be found liable and thrown in jail for accepting bribes. What are the consequences?
Like the landscaper, like Mike for doing the lawn out there, one day at RCID. He's not being thrown in jail for that. But the upper management that knowingly deceived the lower level employees saying, oh, these are gifts from Disney. By the way, they were telling the line employees, oh, these are gifts that Disney is giving for free, when RCID was reimbursing Disney for them. They were kicking back money to Disney while lying to the everyday employee. That's why in the CFTOD meetings, all these Disney employees are up in arms because they've been gaslit for 50 years. Actually, 60 now. They've been gaslit for almost 60 years. They've been told, oh, Disney's doing it all for free, when they never were. They never were doing it for free. They were doing it as a way to recapture revenue, to say, oh, well, we can just gain this back and make the other taxpayers pay more. Because we're not the only ones there, so we're going to make them pay more.
Yeah, did you get to the police section, the off-duty police section?
Oh, it's bad. It's so bad. Also, the lime in the grapefruit and orange garage. You guys have been in those Disney Springs garages. Everyone's been in them. Who do they benefit? Disney. They don't benefit anybody else. And guess what paid for them? Like bond funds.
There you go.
Just
huge scandal.
So just to point out that was paid for as if it was a public garage.
As a public garage, like your city or county garage. So you should be able to just pop up in there and do whatever the hell you want to do, like a public garage, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, and it's really strange. I mean, of course, this goes way back to how RCID was actually founded in the first place, which I think Andrew's probably covered. But they basically followed the CIA playbook to actually make this happen. In fact, there's allusions in T.D. Allman's book, Finding Florida, where he actually states in there that he kind of had some CIA consultation in order to pull all of that together. So
yeah, because the way they did it was in the property purchases, they purchased them all through shell corporations, something the CIA is very, very, very used to doing, setting up a bunch of shell organizations. I mean, I see those boys doing it over in this neck of the woods all the time, still to this day. And I see it and I know it right away. I'm like, oh, you guys are spooks. So you just don't tell them to their face, but you know, I know, we all know. I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, you're the orange farming company. I've seen that one before.
Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. This clip was a part of our now regular Thursday live stream, which starts at noon Eastern time. Of course, just hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified and let YouTube tell you when that is. Like this video if you like this video. If you know somebody who is as interested as we are in this sort of thing, then maybe you should share the link with them. And of course, please consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.